One morning, Percy was impatient. He was wearing a new coat of paint and longed for everyone to see it. The other engines were still dozing, but not Percy. Driver should be here by now. What's he doing? Sleeping, grunted Gordon.
That's a possibility. If it's still early, he very well could be dozing. Besides, the rest of the engines weren't fully up either. James felt Percy was impatient only because he wanted to show off his brand new coat to everyone. I wouldn't be talking much, James, Mr. Vane. Which then gave Thomas an idea, and that was telling Percy another story about Duke and how it relates to Percy's dilemma.
It'll soon be time for work, but be careful, or you might run into danger, and Duke is not here to save you. Duke? Stuttered Toby. You mean our hero? A large painting of Duke hung in the engine shed.
I see Duke's profile is making the rounds. First it was in one of Top Hat's offices. Now there's one in Tidmouth Sheds. What's next? One hanging over the local bathroom? That would be funny if it was. And what's with Toby's response? Why is all of a sudden Duke the island's hero? Is it because he outlasted his abandonment? I don't know if that's really what you'd consider a hero, but okay. So Thomas began telling his next tale about the old-timer.
Long ago, when Peter Sam was still called Stuart, and Sir Handel Falcon, they worked with Duke on his old railway, but Falcon still had a lot to learn. The manager came to see him. Falcon, I'm pleased with your work so far.
According to the manager, he wanted Falcon to learn the part of the line called the Mountain Road. But first, Falcon needed a new coat of paint. Falcon was immediately excited, only to become angry after learning Duke would be joining the journey. Falcon thought of Gramps as an old fusspot. I see that term wasn't just something Mavis came up with. When the day came, Duke told Falcon what the plan was.
Listen, warned Duke, the mountain road is difficult. I'll lead. No, replied Falcon, I'll lead. How can I learn the route with you lumbering ahead and blocking the view? Suit yourself, said Duke, but never mind the view.
Duke's lines are great here. Being that he understands the terrain and has the experience, I would take his words seriously. But being that Falcon is a newbie, of course the younger engine is going to want to do things on their own. Typical old versus young contrast here. Also, I don't know what's with Carlin's voice in this entry, but his voiceover for Duke is extra low. It's awesome.
The engine's speed grew slower and slower. Don't dawdle, urged Falcon. No hurry, puffed Duke. Soon they approached a tunnel.
Why is that bass clarinet coming in for a few notes? Tunnels aren't supposed to be ominous. This of course means though something's going to happen. For Falcon, he didn't like it. Notice the difference in behavior between these two? Falcon wants to go, 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 while Duke is just slow, slow, slow. Remember the old phrase, slow and steady wins the race. Yeah, this isn't a race, but you get what I'm saying. All the more reason when Falcon decided to take a nosedive.
Falcon was derailed and hung dangerously over the edge. Duke bravely held on with all his strength.
I guess so. I know Falcon is no lightweight, but Duke and the rolling stock are still on the rails. Is he that heavy? Also, those chains that couple Duke and Falcon together must be made of some crazy strong metal because I can't see those little things managing all the downward force Falcon is creating. And although I don't think this truly makes a difference in this scenario, I still believe having front-end buffers would help Duke. If somehow Falcon were to fly back and hit Duke, there'd be nothing stopping him from the impact. Meanwhile, Duke began running low on water and needed refills.
Jugs, buckets, kettles, and saucepans filled with water until Duke's thirst was quenched. With everyone's help, he was able to pull Falcon back onto the rails.
That was certainly a close call. But hey, it was meant to be then that Falcon was first in line. If Duke went over the rails, who knows if Falcon would have been strong enough to make a difference. I just want to know what derailed Falcon to begin with. I say this only because he ended up going right over the spot again without coming off. Thankfully, it wasn't a broken track like in Thomas Gets Bumped, otherwise they would have had the same problem again.
Your Duke, said the passengers, is a hero. He stood firm like a bulldog and wouldn't let go. Falcon was grateful too. Thank you for saving me, Duke. I don't know why you bothered after I'd been so rude. Oh well, replied Duke, you just had a new coat of paint. It would have been a pity if you'd rolled down the mountain and spoilt it.
Come to think of it, Duke's face does resemble a bulldog. He's squatty like one too. This was another great episode. What demonstrated here is how respecting your elders can lead to enlightenment. It can be a true friendship between the past and present. I'm sure in his time, Duke had his fair share of spills and knows at this point how to handle certain situations. So now it's Falcon's turn to learn and understand. Whether or not Falcon knew he would discover this by almost falling off a cliff, I'm sure wasn't a part of his agenda. But from what's been shown, this only further displays why Duke, although old, still remains a tough cookie. I'd still like to find out though what's got Thomas telling all these stories. It's rather weird actually. It's bad enough I'm narrating the story while Carlin narrates. Currently we also have Carlin narrating Thomas, while Thomas narrates Duke's story. Ugh, my brain hurts. Moving on, music was singular in this episode. The only main theme heard was the Skarloey Railway and occasional incidental music. From what's been played now, there is a little trumpet cue for Duke, but so far we haven't gotten one for him specifically. That's unfortunate. As for set pieces, Skarloey Station is seen, as well as Arlesdale. Rheneas' viaduct is also shown, but this time at the classic angle the original viaduct first appeared in Season 1. Except there are way more jagged rocks. Lastly, the new area to be revealed is the mountain road. Seeing how high up some of these rails go is genuinely terrifying, especially for those who don't like heights. But imagine being that person who owns the house next to the railway on the mountain. They must have quite a view. Next episode is You Can't Win. Thanks for watching.